Hello, I'm Katherine Grace Rice, and I will be presenting about Fred Jones' Positive Classroom with pieces by Claude Monet. Jones' Positive Classroom Management Discipline Program focuses on educators maintaining a holistic view of the whole child. It stresses engagement as a means to keep students from acting out and needing discipline for small disruptions, which make up 95% of misbehavior. Positive classroom management has an emphasis in cooperation between student and teacher, as cooperation is the foundation of discipline. With cooperation between student and teacher comes gained respect, which strengthens their relationship and in turn makes the student more responsible for their own behavior. Jones is an advocate for cheap management techniques, which are simplistic, faster, and more effective, leaving more time for instruction. Educators should strive to implement differential reinforcement, meaning praise for good behavior and less focus on the negative behavior. At the core of the positive classroom ideology is the idea that students should learn to self-manage their own behavior. They know what is right and wrong, they just need a little guidance and support. There are 4 fundamentals that make up the positive classroom. These are, in no particular order, classroom structures, limit setting through body language, cooperation, and backup systems. In the next slides, you will dive deeper into what each of these means and how they create a positive classroom. The first fundamental element of the positive classroom is classroom structure. Jones believes this can be summarized into rules, routines, and standards. This is likely not news to anyone, but the way they are implemented is where the positive classroom benefits can be seen. As stated previously, rules should be simple, clear, and established at the very beginning of the school year. The goal of discipline is to train and motivate students to do the right thing by themselves, and this can be done when there are clear and necessary expectations of them. Jones differentiates between general and specific rules. General rules reflect goals and objectives, such as be respectful of one another. These rules should be implemented at all times in order to be fully effective. Specific rules explain particular guidelines in order for the class to run smoothly. For instance, one might be, always bring your textbook to class. Both general and specific rules are important for class structures to bring about successful classrooms. Limit setting refers to teachers' ways of correcting minor misbehaviors. This primarily includes body language, as verbal correction interrupts the class and can make a scene. This can include hand movements to demonstrate what a student should be doing, facial expressions, or any number of nuanced physical expressions. Another component is proximity, which is when a teacher moves towards a misbehaving student as if to say, I see what you're doing and I'm giving you the opportunity to correct yourself before this escalates. Eye contact can also be extremely useful when dealing with misbehavior. These nonverbal corrections should be subtle and private, as to not embarrass the student or blow everything out of proportion. When doing limit setting, however, it is important to remember that different cultures might have different connotations to actions, such as eye contact, which could be considered threatening or inappropriate. So, it is important to gauge your students' reactions to reach the desired consequence. Teachers should strive to exude calmness when performing limit setting and at all times in the classroom, as it is contagious and can help de-escalate the situation. Limit setting will also help build the student-teacher relationship, as students often appreciate not being called out for their wrongdoings. Cooperation is the next fundamental element. This is just in reference to discipline being the responsibility of both the teacher and the students themselves. Again, striving for students to feel responsible for their actions should be at the forefront of the teacher's mind regarding discipline. Not only does it make the class run smoothly, but also helps the student prepare for life overall. Jones describes students' main resource or currency in the classroom as time, and so therefore, the system of PATs come into play. PAT stands for Preferred Activity Time, which is free time the students can be able to earn for cooperating with the teacher. For instance, a teacher might say, if we can get through this lesson without any behavioral interruptions, 5 minutes will be added to the class PAT. You can also deduct PAT for misbehavior if, for example, a class is rowdy, a teacher might subtract 3 minutes. Jones says PAT should not be a free-for-all, however. It should be used productively, perhaps for extra credit assignments, homework time, or completing fun projects. Jones states that teachers should employ grandma's rule, which means not eating dessert before your vegetables, or not having rewards granted on the promise of good behavior if it hasn't happened yet. The final fundamental element is that of backup systems. This is when all of the previous techniques fail and you're forced to take more drastic measures than the serenity of the positive classroom. The first level of the backup system is the teacher's classroom policy, which should be laid out in detail with no wiggle room. It should also not be used often, for if it is, it will lose its effectiveness. The next level is the school administration, which will have their own policies in place. This should be used sparingly, as most behavioral issues do not need too much intervention. The final backup system level is law enforcement in the juvenile justice system, which will hopefully not be necessary unless there is a true threat of danger. And finally, my question is, what did you find most compelling about Jones' positive classroom, and is there anything you would use in your own teaching practice? Thank you.